Now to a push to protect ancient rock art in the Kimberley, which experts believe could turn out to be the oldest surviving art form in the world. Scientists and philanthropists have joined forces to conduct new research with aims to determine once and for all just how old the art is. Ultimately, the studies aim to protect it from the growing pressure of mining development in the resource-rich Kimberley. But they're also expected to put to rest the long-running controversy over who painted the Guion paintings, otherwise known as the Bradshaws. Claire Moody has the story.
Astonished, absolutely astonished. I don't think anybody who hasn't experienced the sites in the Kimberley can realise just how beautiful they are.
For an archaeologist, this is a dream assignment. Weeks spent in the Kimberley wilderness studying one of the world's biggest art galleries.
We have sort of an enclosure here of an escarpment, and all around the escarpment there's a series of art sites.
Dr. June Ross is one of 23 scientists from across Australia involved in a 3-year research project, working with traditional owners of the northwest Kimberley.
This is the picture that I draw, because we don't want to lose our culture and our traditional painting, and so we teach our kids how to do all these things.
They've recorded over 200 sites, some of them with 500 motifs or more, the art ranging from the early Guion images to the more recent Wandjina art. The multidisciplinary team has also been carrying out excavations to try to piece together a picture of the past.
We know, for instance, from our research that people have been living in the northwest Kimberley for almost 40,000 years. Now, it's quite possible that they've lived there for much longer than that, but we now have evidence for that from our excavations.
Nowhere else on Earth does art so old show such sophistication. Who were the artists and where did they originate?
The research, sponsored by the Australian Research Councils, also supported by the Kimberley Foundation, chaired by Melbourne philanthropist Maria Myers.
I'd like to get the piece of Australia's story that's locked up in Kimberley rock art. And I think it's also a big piece of the story of the emergence of modern humans in the world.
Little pile of rocks on pile of rocks. Yeah, it's an impressive thing.
The foundation previously sponsored the work of the late Graham Walsh, a Queenslander who dedicated his life to documenting the Guion images.
We're just so privileged to be able to see things as beautiful as this on the wall in pristine conditions in their natural setting. It's about the highest high that you can get. It's addictive, that's why I'm here, I guess.
Wow, what a panel!
Impressive stuff.
Everyone shares the fascination, but not Walsh's controversial theory that the elegant Guions were the work of an ancient race unrelated to Aboriginal culture.
Graham Walsh did outstanding work on actually documenting the distribution, the density and the extraordinary aesthetics of the Guions. The implication that they represented an earlier group of people or a different race is not a view I subscribe to, nor most of my colleagues. We see the art as being made by the original Aboriginal peoples whose descendants are the makers of Wandjina and who live throughout the Kimberley today.
Okay.
You don't need to worry. You
Yes, well done.
Some of those descendants were at UWA this week to toast a milestone in rock art research. $4 million from the Kimberley Foundation and the Japanese LNG producer Inpex to fund a new chair in Kimberley rock art.
I think this particular bequest from philanthropists is a major milestone. It shows serious intent, but it is a fact that only about 1% of wealthy Australians actually donate their monies towards things like cultural heritage.
What could prove to be Australia's and the world's most significant cultural treasure is under threat.
A Apart from being rich in rock art, the Kimberley is also subject to over 700 mining exploration licences. Peter Veth wants lessons to be learned from the Pilbara, where heritage sites have been damaged, including an estimated 14% of the engravings on the Burrup Peninsula.
If it's planned for properly now, with support from industry, in collaboration with traditional owners and good policy from government, an area like the Kimberley probably can see certain kinds of developments which are sustainable, but it can't be done in catch-up mode. That just doesn't work.
But the task is massive. There are thought to be hundreds of thousands of paintings tucked away in the Kimberley sandstone.
If this art was in Europe, everybody would be flocking to it. We have hundreds of researchers working in one cave in France. Here we have just a handful of researchers working in an area about the size of Germany or France.
The scientists feel the urgency. Next year, June Ross and the team hope to release dates for some of the oldest art. They're using the same technique as scientists who dated the world's earliest cave painting in Spain in June.
It's a method of comparing the uranium and thorium in the skins that build up over the art. And the huge value in that is that we don't have to destroy the art at all. We simply take off a very, very small sample. It can be as small as 10 milligrams. So that means we're not destroying the art at all, we're dating a film that's across the top.
Previous research dated a Guion image as being at least 17,000 years old, but experts believe it's only a matter of time before older dates are confirmed.
I think the art of the Kimberley is so complex, so beautiful, so populous. It is just everywhere. I would be stunned if it's not as old. I think it'll be at least 41,000 years old, like the art from Spain, and there's probably a lot more of it because it's a huge body. It's absolutely enormous by world standards.